Hey everybody, Rob Davis here with EXP. So excited that you've been able to take time out of your busy schedule to have a look at this presentation called Change Your Logo, Change Your Life. And I just wanted to welcome you to this and to say, sit back, relax. I'm going to try and give a brief, quick overview of EXP Realty and what that looks like here in Australia. I'm just going to move my photo now over to the very far edge of the corner so you can see our screen the best you can. And what I want to say is that I thought as an agent, all real estate companies were pretty much the same until I started to hear about EXP. And that was probably about 2018. And I started to notice things, people talking about it on podcasts coming from the US. I actually was listening to a podcast when I very first heard about it. And I was listening to somebody that had been with their own team at a brokerage, which is what they call a real estate company in the US. And over a weekend, after 20 years of being with one company, they just moved everything into EXP. And I was like, wow, that's a massive change. They must have done some serious research on that. So I started to learn more about EXP at that stage. So let me just jump into what is EXP Realty all about? How did it start? What does it offer? And how does it look here in Australia? Really, we're just going to give you an overview. But before we do, I want to ask three questions, and I think it's always important to ask some direct questions in order to best help you. And again, thank you for taking time and being willing to look at this presentation. But my first question is, I want you to remember back. Maybe it was a couple of years ago, maybe it was like myself, decades ago that you got into real estate. But my first question is, why did you get into real estate? For most of it was to make good money, to have great time freedom, to be able to control who we worked with, how we worked, where we worked, and the ability to create our own incomes. So my next question is, if we showed you a different, possibly more lucrative way to do real estate as a career, would you keep an open mind? That's all I ask. Just keep an open mind. And thirdly, and this is probably something that I didn't think about when I was 30 starting real estate, but in my 50s now, I do think about it. What's my exit strategy from the day-to-day selling of real estate? And just keep those three questions in mind as we go through this presentation. Who is EXP? Well, EXP is a global cloud-based real estate company with personal development and technology businesses on the side. We currently operate in 21 countries. We have over 84,000 sales agents globally. We are publicly traded on the NASDAQ in the US as EXPI, along with companies like Apple, Microsoft, PayPal, Netflix, Amazon, those kinds of companies. And guys, what I've done here is I've actually screenshotted a QR code. So you can pause the video at any time and scan the QR code, and that'll take you to different links throughout the presentation. So this is our top company, I suppose, how we are structured. EXP World Holdings owns EXP Realty. They own Success.com. They own Verbella. They own Showcase IDX. And we as agents in turn own a part of EXP World Holdings, but more on that in just a little bit. Uh, what's different between us and perhaps traditional models of real estate? And I know there's lots of different models, but if we're thinking about big brands in the space, there's often a global company, and then there's a country company, and then within the company, it's divided into regions. So I'm thinking franchise models here. Then there's costs incurred on the local level. So the costs are continually always adding up. So there's office leases and equipment and staffing. There's managers and office staff. They have to hire recruiters to build teams. Then there's the local office fees, as I said, regional fees, and then country fees and global fees. Those fees often are somewhere between 5 and 10%, depending on the brand, and they stack up. And as I explain a little bit more about EXP to you, you'll see how EXP has completely flipped that on its head, and we don't have any of those costs. So imagine being able to strip out all those costs and push that back to the agents, not only in more income, better commission splits, etc., but also on technology that's available. So as we're going along here, EXP agents enjoy income and wealth building attributes in three separate funnels. The traditional sales and referrals funnel, which is there, which we'll go into in a little bit. There's an equity position where you actually get gifted ownership within the company, and I'll cover that slightly in a little bit more detail. And then we have a revenue share model as well. We call it our cascading revenue share model, and we'll jump into that as well. So just as you're thinking about it, perhaps where you are right now, you might be an owner of a company, you might be a sales agent at a company, but you're kind of limited to the sales that you actually personally produce, maybe some referrals to mortgage companies or property management companies. Depending on what state you're working in, you might be able to get a referral from a solicitor or whatnot. But you'll be quite curtailed just in there as far as your income coming in. Imagine adding two more funnels or two more silos to the income that's coming in. More about that in a minute. How did EXP start? Well, on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see Glenn Sanford. And I've met Glenn personally, and he's just the most down-to-earth gentleman, but he's also a real high-level thinker. Those that have worked with him and know him just understand that his brain thinks differently. And I suppose in the real estate space, he's a real innovator, creating this huge disrupting model. But a little bit about the background. Glenn Sanford had important roles at internet startups before launching a real estate career in 2002. And if you listen to him tell his story, he kind of reluctantly got into real estate. He was building websites and he was enjoying that. And he didn't really want to do real estate the way that it was traditionally done. But in his fourth year in real estate with a major national franchisor, his team closed more than $60 million in real estate. By connecting consumers online. So this is the early kind of web-based things. If you're thinking back 2002, 3, 4, in that era, the internet was just coming very, very early stages. Glenn believed that the agents and the people that were running the local franchises were doing the heavy lifting for the real estate companies. And they wanted to have, they should get the benefits of being a shareholder and income based on their level of contribution. And if you remember what happened in 2008, we went through what historically is now called the global financial crisis. Lots of people struggled. Lots of homes were repossessed. Costs just were going right through the roof. And Glenn just thought, there's got to be a better way. And so he took his knowledge of technology and he then was able to strip out the costs that were killing him. At that stage, he had offices, I think it was in 3 or 4 states in the US, teams working in different places. So, there was offices, there was insurances, there was staff, there was leases, there was, all kinds of power, light, water, all that kind of stuff. He thought, what if we could create a way using technology and just strip out all those costs? So in 2009, he started the first cloud-based real estate company, EXP Realty. And I've just put some images here on the screen. Innovation is always happening. You would be very familiar with the way that technology has been disrupting all kinds of industries over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. EXP Realty is innovating in the real estate company space by empowering agents to do business when and where they want at the touch of a button. So the old way of thinking was brick and mortar locations. The new way of thinking is anytime, anywhere. So we've got some examples there. When was the last time you went to a Blockbuster store? No, that's right. They're all gone, with the exception of one in Bend, Oregon, USA. They've all been replaced by streaming services like Netflix or Stan or those kind of things. Interesting side story. The original developers of Netflix went to Blockbuster and offered to buy them out. And the people at Blockbuster were a little bit set in their ways and they didn't see the potential. They misread the play. And within just a few years of them being offered to buy Netflix, they were actually gone. They were a $6 billion company, gone. A second example there is everybody remembers Toys R Us, and I know in some locations they might be making a comeback, but they just got smashed by disruptive technology in the form of Amazon, where no longer did you have to go into a toy store and watch your young child there throw a tantrum because they couldn't get this or that. You could just order toys online and they'd pop straight to your door. And that's what's happening in the real estate space. Traditional real estate companies, those brick and mortar locations, are being replaced by cloud-based technology like EXP Realty. So that, I think we can see that in almost every aspect of life at the moment. And here's Tony Robbins at one of his seminars talking about time with brick and mortar takes so much longer to build value. So he's got a slide here, and you can see there the Hilton hotel chain. You know, it took them almost 100 years, or they've been in existence at when he had this slide up, almost 100 years, and they had a valuation of 18 billion. And at the time of this slide, Airbnb had been going for 10 years, and they already had a valuation of $31 billion. Um, as we move forward here, our cloud-based environment means that we have no desk fees. There's no franchise fees or royalties. You can work from anywhere. You cut overhead brick and mortar costs. There's no expensive leases, means the company can invest in agent support and technology. Paperless transactions via DocuSign or similar platforms, and you get instant access to training and support. I'm going to talk to you in just a minute about the amazing thing that we have called EXP University, which basically you can plug into anywhere you can get not real estate, anywhere you can get Wi-Fi connection, and you can be learning anything from how to use GoPro, the psychology of sales, how to get price reductions, how to get more listings, the basics of the industry, maybe the real complex things, the psychology of working with other agents, the psychology of getting your offer accepted. Anything you can imagine, there's training available. There's 50 plus hours every single week of fresh new training coming through our portals. Where is the office? And again, I've got a QR code here on the slide, so be sure to let me just move this image here to the other side so that you can get a good scan there. The office is wherever you are. Each state has a registered place of business, but we do business wherever our agents are, and we do this in several ways. We do this through EXP World Virtual Business Campus. And if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to watch, I think it's about a 90-second walkthrough of our virtual business campus. We also have access to the Regis Serviced Offices global network. So as an EXP agent, you'll be given an app from Regis. And you can pop in and use their business lounge wherever you are. You also can get a 10% discount if you want to rent space there, maybe for a one-off meeting, or maybe you wanted to, it might be convenient for you to have an office within that environment. So you can certainly do that. Our offices are also through Workplace by Facebook or Meta. And it allows instant messaging, calls, and video conferencing with over 84,000 agents plus staff around the world. So often our staff are able to, or our agents are able to just ring the staff member that they want to connect with just through the Workplace app on their mobile devices. So I like to say, as long as you have Wi-Fi, you have access to your colleagues for collaboration, questions, and connection. Your home office, your client's property, a local coffee shop can all be places that you can work from as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. And I think it's pretty hard to go places without a Wi-Fi connection these days. Here's just a more about the Regis locations. And so with this, we like to see in Perth, where I am, there are, what are there? There's 5 locations in Perth. We're not open in Darwin yet, but we will be at some point. So there's 3 locations there. There's 5 locations in Queensland, and 24 in the ACT and New South Wales. So lots of locations around Australia. And it's great if you're traveling and you need to pop in and just do a bit of work, gives you an option. So here are some of our tools that we have. Our agent box is our CRM. So everything that you can imagine in an old real estate office that would go into one of those manila folders, you would be able to put that into Agent Box. as a PDF scan. You upload all your photos for your properties here. Your title searches go here. When you get a building inspection back, it goes here. Timber pest goes here. Everything that's associated with that property goes here into a file. All the data is captured, so the leads coming back from like realestate.com and domain, we can set them up to capture your leads coming back. You get everything that you need. We'll go through a little bit more in depth soon, but you can, and one of the key things on this slide is that you build your database and you keep it. So we don't use your data at EXP. EXP doesn't email people. I know I worked for a company before, and there was sometimes occasionally where the company would email people's clients, and then there would be a lot of follow-up and concern about that. You also have access to CoreLogic, with its proposals, etc., property reports, creating CMAs, and getting access to contact data for prospecting where it's applicable in your state. Everything that you need is available for you in the cloud. Back to training, we have live training. You have a lot of training in various countries that you can plug into, depending if you're a night owl or early morning person or whatnot. You can jump into meetings. You can go and listen to what's happening in the UK in their training sessions, or you can pop into maybe a training in Florida or New York City or Los Angeles, and find out what's the next step happening so that you can be prepared in advance to do real estate right where you are. Learn from industry experts and top producers about sales and listings, lead generation, social media, CRM and technology tools. Tap into the archive of recorded sessions. Even here in Australia, we probably got, I don't know, we must have at least 50 or 60 hours of recorded conversations from some of our top producing agents on what's working for them, some of the pitfalls they've come into, and how you can avoid those mistakes, all those kinds of things. Agents are sharing collaboratively because, as you'll see in a minute, we're all shareholders in this company. And when you come and partner with us here at EXP, when you win, we all win. So we're all trying to make each other better agents out in the field. This is an example of one of our trainings. We host it almost every Tuesday of the year. So these are agents that have reached a certain production level and they have been awarded the Icon Award. So they are called Icon agents. Just by the way, if you become an Icon agent, which we can talk to you personally about how to become that, you're actually going to be gifted up to $21,000 in Australian dollars in our parent company, EXP World Holdings. More about that in just a minute. As we go through here, as I said before, our income comes from multiple streams. And let's talk now about the equity. That's about ownership in the company. Yes, you get ownership in the company. And that's one of the things that was very appealing to me. So here are some of our opportunities, ways in which you can get equity. So agents can become shareholders at EXP Realty. And if you're wanting to, I'll have a slide in just a second where you can do some more research with a QR code. We're trading on the NASDAQ in the US, and our trading symbol is EXPI. And like any shares, they'll go up, they'll go down. I've got no idea how they'll be performing when you actually Google them, but we're a publicly traded company. And so you can go and totally research us. One of the things I love about that is there are no smoke and mirrors. There are only the facts. And one of the amazing things about us is that we have no practical debt as a company, but you can look at all that when you go and research the company. You can earn shares on your first transaction. You can earn shares when you fully cap, and I'll go into capping in just a minute. You can earn shares when an agent you sponsor settles their first transaction. You can become an Icon agent and earn up to 21,000 stock upon the achievement of certain production and cultural goals within your anniversary year. And these things that I'm telling you are all real. Agents in Australia right now are experiencing the benefits of this. Your results will be different. Here's a disclaimer. Your results will be different based on your skills, based on how much you apply yourself, all of that. But this is an option for you. And also you can choose to have 5% of your commissions of every transaction go towards purchasing stock, company stock, at a 10% discount. So if you had a $10,000 commission, let's say, 5% of that can go to purchase stock at a 10% discount. You don't have to participate in that, but it's an option for you to automatically kind of get equity already in that stock option. A little bit about stocks there. And so also income comes from multiple streams, as I said before. We have a revenue share program. And what does that mean? Well, let me just say first that there is a difference between profit share and revenue share. Profit share is the money left over after all the expenses are taken out. Revenue share, which is what we have at EXP, comes in the very top line. I'll explain that in just a minute. So as you can see here, it says here about how to unlock cascading revenue share in Australia. So the only way that you can actually get to be a part of EXP Australia is to be sponsored by an agent like myself or whoever has shared this video with you. And in that way, the company is very intent on saying thank you for that role in bringing more agents to the company. That's partly why we've gone from when I started with the company, just around the very end of December 2019, we had 20-something thousand agents. And at the moment, we have 84,000 agents because agents are very good at seeing this opportunity and getting other agents to partner because it answers so many questions that agents have been trying to do. So here are some facts that you could learn about this. And this might not be of any interest to you at all, but I'd love to be able just to explain it briefly. On the right-hand side, we have a column that says 1 plus, and then you have 5 plus, 10 plus, 15 plus, etc., down to 40 plus. That's the number of agents that you might personally introduce to EXP to unlock the 7 tiers for the cascading revenue share. So as you bring agents into the company, you introduce them and they name you as their sponsor, you will earn up to $3,500 per agent per year when you have 1 to 4 agents that are actually selling. If you have 5 or more what they call frontline qualifying agents, that means agents that are selling, then if they were to bring on any agents, you'd get up to $4,000 from those. If you had 10 plus agents that you personally had introduced to EXP, you would actually unlock tier 3, and that would give you $2,500 max per agent per year on that level. And that goes right through. And so you can see at the very, very bottom, if you had personally introduced 40 active frontline qualifying agents, then that would unlock all the way down to tier 7. And on those agents, you would be earning up to $5,000 per agent per anniversary year. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in detail as we go, but I hope you understand that. If you didn't, just go back and watch that again. What the reality is that from the commission split that our agents have with the company, which you'll see in a minute is a 75-25 split, agents pay a maximum in their commissions to EXP of $25,000 a year. Of that $25,000, half of that goes back to agents as thank you gifts as far as revenue share to the people that are building the company. So you can imagine we had a quarter, I think Q2 was the last quarter that we had reports on. There was $1.4 billion in revenue that came through to EXP. So if you're thinking about that, that's over $1 billion or $500 million going back to its agents in the form of thank you gifts in revenue share. It's pretty exciting. One of the things I'll also say about this is that this continues. This is every year you're getting this payment from the people that you've introduced, regardless of whether they move locations. As long as they stay with EXP, you are going to be getting some income. And this lasts as long as you hold a real estate license. So you might actually retire from active production, and this will just keep on feeding you through until you don't hold a real estate license anymore. You do have to have a real estate license, though. Here's a 5-year example. So if we got working and we were just sharing a little bit about EXP, then you have the opportunity to say maybe get 10 agents. And if they each got 10, and I'm just talking over a 4-year or a 5-year period, tier one, you'd be getting $3,500 per year from that. But you would have unlocked tier two as well. And if they'd each sponsored or brought to EXP 10 agents, that's 100 agents, you would be getting $400,000 a year. My question when I'm talking to agents about this all the time is if I could show you a system which would give you, potentially $400,000 a year, $500,000 a year in passive income, would that create a problem for you? Probably not. And then, as I said, income from multiple streams. Obviously, we have the traditional sales and referral system, and that's what we all are focused on. As you would have seen, we can get very excited about company ownership, equity in stock. We can get very excited on potential thank you gift revenue coming through in the 7-layer cascading revenue share. But when it comes down to it, we are real estate agents. We list and sell houses, and we invite other people to come and do that with us, but we want to do the best we can for our clients. So let's talk a little bit about that aspect of EXP. There are no desk fees, no royalty fees, or franchise fees. We have a commission and a cap. Now, if you've never heard of a cap, all it means is it's the American model. When you reach a certain level of production, in our case, when you settle your first $100,000 in commissions per year, depending on how much you're used to writing, that could take you 10 months, that could take you 2 months. It just depends on your level of production. No one's going to be on your back to produce, but that's the way it is. But once you have settled that 100,000 in production, you pay EXP no more commission for the remainder of your anniversary year. So let's, for sake of argument, say you started on the 1st of January and you went all the way through, and maybe you capped by, say, the end of May. That means that June, July, August, September, October, November, December, you would be on 100% commission. EXP is going to take no more commission from you. Then when your anniversary year recycles, you start again in January, you'll be again on that generous 75-25 split. So this $25,000 is what we call the cap. You'll hear it talked about in a couple of different ways. For people here in Australia, we'll talk about it as the cap's 100,000, meaning that's the benchmark. That's where EXP stops taking commission. If you're talking to someone, maybe someone's referred you to this video and they're talking to you from the US, they will say our cap is $25,000. All right. And after that, you earn 100% commission for the remainder of your anniversary year. Now, we are a subscription model. That means you opt in and you can opt out. You can see what the standard costs are. These are all the costs. If you do it properly, these are all the costs. It's $220 to start. It's $220 a month ongoing, and we'll go over what that includes. And you pay just $275, including GST, per sale that you do. So the more you sell, the more you'll pay in transaction fees, but you'll be at that level on 100% very, very shortly. And it's very, very good. There's no lock-in contract, as I said. And if you leave, you simply give your notice and you take your listings and your data with you. We don't want your data. That's your data. And that's one of the key things about EXP. So many of the other companies that you would have the opportunity to work for, the database that you are building belongs to that company. You can't take it with you. You can't market to it after you've gone. It would be a breach of your employment agreement, most likely. But here, you own the data. You get to market to it in whatever way is legal and appropriate for you to market to it. So just to recap, it's $220 to join. It's $220 a month for your monthly subscription, and it's $275 per sales transaction that you do. I'm just going to let you, this is just income levels compared by model and splits. You might want to stop the video and just actually have a real look at this, because I was talking to somebody the other day and they didn't quite capture it. They said, hey, I'm on an 80-20 split. That's better than 75-25. When I showed them this, they were like, oh, I get it. 75-25 with a $100,000 cap is much, much better than an 80-20 split in most cases. So just have a look there, compare where you might be at. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or the person that sent you this video. EXP Australia inclusions for its agents. Here are just some of the tools that you get, which is included in your $220 startup fee or your monthly subscription. So you get basic web portal subscriptions. And there's a way that you can have your own subscriptions if you are a fully licensed agent. You get your agent box CRM is included, your core logic, RP data, contact details, all your property bits and pieces, as well as digital proposals from CoreLogic are included. You have access to Workplace and Workplace Chat, which gives you the ability to call people, message people, be on video conferencing with any agent from EXP anywhere in the world. I was talking to someone in California a couple of weeks ago, and literally we just got on a video conference on that platform, and it was fantastic. You get EXP World Software, which is our virtual business campus. That comes with it. You just download it to your computer. Might make a note of that. It works on desktops and laptops. It won't work on your phone, but there is a listening scenario, so you can actually listen to people in that platform. Tech support. Where I used to work, if you had a problem with your computer, it would cost you $118 per hour that someone was employed to work on your computer. Not here at EXP. That's included in your $220 a month. You get licensee support and document review. So every single listing, so I happen to be a licensee for EXP here in Australia. I'm in Western Australia. Every single listing that comes through and every single sales contract is reviewed, and we make sure that it's compliant. Additionally to that, as you're doing a transaction and you have a question, you need to ask support, you can always get a hold of your licensee in whatever state that you are in. And for some reason, if you can't get a hold of that, there are 3 other additional licensees that you can reach out to that can give you general legal guidance if you're in an absolute hurry. So it's a real benefit to have that. We'll take care of your sales trust accounting. So depending on whether you're a commission-only agent or an independent contractor, and we'll cover that in a minute, we'll do the sales trust accounting for you. Imagine not having to worry about that. We'll give you access to Secure Exchange, where it's an online portal where you can share the agency details for the trust account in a protected format, so that cybercrime is completely reduced and eliminated as a concern for you. You'll get access to all the required real estate forms in your state and the digital signing platform. So I'm in Western Australia. Agents that join us, they'll become associate members of REWA. They'll have all the documentation for REWA, and they will also have DocuSign through REWA. We'll set you up with an email alias. So all that means is, yes, we're going to have an email platform for you to be able to email all of your clients backwards and forwards. And again, you're getting 50 plus hours of real estate training every single week, including in-country as well as recorded or live training through EXP University. And so that's an amazing thing. With the startup fee, that's going to be setting you up through everything that you possibly could need at EXP, making sure you have all the introductions to the right people, making sure you have all of your software connected, making sure that everything is set up. You've got your bio set up, your online profile set up. Everything is worked out for you. And we have someone that in that role. Kirsten is just amazing, and she will personally reach out to you and set up a time and just go through a Zoom call. She'll answer any questions that you might have, and she'll make sure that everything is set up. And if there are any glitches along the way that you might experience, she'll be able to sort it out just like that. We find that it is one of the smoothest onboarding processes that you could actually ever hope to go through. And again, that's all included just in your 220 startup fee as well. I forgot to say, you get access to 12 months of our agent library, which has all of your templates for doing your social media posts. You might want to do TikToks. You might want to do Reels on Instagram. All the bits and pieces you need for that are there. You might need CMAs. All the pieces for that are there. They're all branded. All you got to do is pop in your details, change out the photos, and away you go. And then the questions comes now, how can I join? Well, you can join as a commission-only agent, subject to meeting the Australian Real Estate Award criteria, which, as most of you would know, means that you have to have earned just under $60,000 commission to you in the within a 12-month period at some point in the last 3 years, or 36 months, as it says. Or you can be a fully licensed agent. You can join as an independent contractor. Now, you can do that and just work under the EXP Australia banner, and there's a lot of agents choosing to do that. Or you can go out on your own or stay out on your own, however you are, whether you are currently fully licensed and want to have your own brand, or you might have your own brand already. All we ask is that you just put a little Powered by EXP logo on your branding so that there's no confusion with the regulators, and they know that you're in association with us. And then also people want to know, can we do teams? Well, in Australia, you probably would know that you're quite limited in what options there are for teams. Not because of EXP, but because of the regulators in the various states. So at the moment, yes, you can have teams. We would call them a self-organized team, and we can go through that with you if that's appropriate for you. So guys, we're coming to the end of the presentation, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time. I hope this has been informative for you. I know there's a massive amount of information, so I just encourage you to go back and just go through this video several times and see if there's any questions you might have. Please reach out to me. My details will be at the end of this video, or go back to the person that sent you this video, because that's how we would like to honor that. As I get through, I want to just say, here is my final question. What did you like best about what you saw? I hope there was something that you liked and you thought, man, that's cool. And if we tie that in with our original questions that we asked, why did you get into real estate? If we could show you a way that's more lucrative for you, for your family, maybe it's time freedom you're after, financial freedom you're after, building a team. One of the things I didn't mention about building a team is you're not restricted to build a team just locally. You can build it in the state that you're in. You can build it anywhere that we're open in Australia. But not only that, if you've got connections in other countries where we're open, you can build it there as well. You might have friends in New Zealand. You can sponsor agents in New Zealand. You might know people in the UK, in Canada, in India. You might know people in Chile, in Greece. You might know people in France, in Israel. Wherever we are, you can build a team there. I get so passionate about this, guys, because there's nothing like this being offered anywhere in Australia, and you have the opportunity to join us and partner with us. And I hope you will consider it at least. And finish by saying, change your logo, change your life. It's really just that simple. If you qualify, we'd love to have you on board. And if you need to, you just scan this code. It'll take you straight to our join page. There'll be some information there, and then you can click on a form, put in your name, put in your details. It'll ask you some questions there. Nominate your sponsor, and I'd be delighted to be your sponsor to guide you every step of your real estate career if that's something that would be helpful for you. But if someone else has shared this video with you, I appreciate it if you just go back to them and let them be your sponsor.